Hey everyone, thank you for watching. Today's video I'm really excited to do because it's going to be a bit of a personal makeup challenge. So I've had this idea in mind since I did the using every shade in a palette challenge, which was a couple months back. As I was taking on that challenge and I was looking through my eyeshadow palettes, I realized that I have a lot of eyeshadow palettes in my collection where there is multiple shades in that palette that I have never used. If you are newer to my channel, I have my comfort zone definitely when it comes to makeup. I have a preferred technique when it comes to doing my eyeshadows. I have preferred colors that I like to use, and even when I go into my palettes, a lot of times I'm creating very similar looks with very similar shadows, and a lot of times I completely leave shadows out of palettes. I have older palettes in my collection that there are shades that have never been touched in there. And so I said to myself, you should do some sort of challenge where you are using shades that you've never used in a palette. And I had it on my list for a while and I was like, I don't know if that's really like an interesting challenge because, you know, it's not like I'm going to use every single shade that I haven't used in the palette, because the point isn't to like make myself look crazy. It's to get out of my comfort zone. I talk about being in my comfort zone a lot, and I don't think that that's a bad thing at all in the slightest, but I also think it's fun to do these types of challenges and just to be able to challenge yourself to do something different, to mix things up. So that's what I want to do today. I want to challenge myself to take an eyeshadow palette in my collection and only play with shades that I have never used before. So I was going through my eyeshadow palettes the other night and it was a pretty embarrassing number of how many palettes I could have chose to do this with, because not only were there so many shades in palettes that I haven't used, but I felt like I could actually make color combinations. You know, there was of course a few where it was like a really deep black and a really deep brown that I haven't used, and it's like, okay, I can't really do anything with that. But the palette that I decided to use for today is the Violet Voss hashtag palette. I chose this because it's a bit of a newer palette, but it's definitely a newer palette to me. And I've only used it a handful of times as I was getting ready to review it. And I felt like I had a good variety in here. And also kind of when I was looking at this, I had an idea in my mind for something that I wanted to do. And I thought I could achieve it with this palette. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to be trying to create an eye look that is wearable and something that I still enjoy, but using shades in the Violet Voss hashtag palette that I have never used before, I've never touched, I've never put them on my eyes. So I have no idea how this challenge video is going to go, if it's going to work out well, or if I'm just going to like hate it at the end, but I thought it could be fun to challenge myself, and I thought it could be fun to film it as well. So why don't we just go ahead and get started. I already got my ears on, got you zoomed in. Since this is just focused on the eyes, I do have like my face makeup on, my brows, everything like that. Since we're just gonna be doing the eyes, I do have my eyes primed and also set. So we are ready to go. So like I said, I'm gonna use the Violet Voss hashtag palette. And there's a lot of shades in this palette that I haven't used. This second row, I have not touched any of those shades. Not a one. And for me, I don't know if I'm really weird because I know people love to swatch, especially eyeshadow palettes, but for some reason I don't. So it was actually really easy for me to look at my palettes and see which shades I haven't used, because I don't even typically swatch. So I knew exactly how many shades out of here I haven't used. I also haven't used Goat. This ILY I haven't used. FOMO, Low Key, Living, haven't used those. And then Life. Haven't used that shade either. So I wanted to use this. I felt like I had a lot of different options, and you know, maybe if I'm starting to do it and it doesn't work out, it's just makeup, I can wipe it off and I can try again. What I had in mind is I actually kind of want to do like a halo eye. I like halo eyes, but I don't do them a ton, so I thought it'd be fun to do something a little bit different. And I think I want to try to put Goat on the inner and outer part of my eye and then Lit on the inner corner, but I actually do want to swatch these just to see if I think that they would make sense together, because I really don't know that. Okay, so Goat is just a really nice matte brown. I'm honestly kind of shocked that I haven't used it out of the palette. And then this Lit is a shimmer, and it's like brown but like with a little bit of copper to it. So I don't know. I have no idea. When I say I'm not artistically creative, I can't see things in my mind. I can't visualize things. So even swatching, I'm still like, how's that gonna look on my eyes? Or if we've been in the process of finishing our basement for a while and my husband will calm me down a lot and he'll be like, so that's gonna go there and then this is gonna go here and then that there, and he looks over at me and I'm like, okay, and he's like, you have no idea what I'm saying. I can't visualize things. And I'm not putting myself down by any means, because I don't think that's a put down. It's just how I am. It's just how my mind works. So I have a tough time. And I think that's why makeup was always such a struggle for me, because, you know, when you're doing your makeup, you're trying to visualize how the end effect is going to come together, and I don't have that. So that's why I work off tutorials so much and photos and things like that, because I just don't have that end result. So anyways, let's just get some makeup on these eyes. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick up Goat with a small brush here. This is the Essential Crease brush from Real Techniques. So I'm gonna go ahead, when I do my halo eyes, I'll just pack the first shadow on the outer part of the eye. I also take that same shade and put it on the inner part of my eye as well. This is why I like to use a small brush, but also one that's, you know, it's a little bit fluffy, but it's smaller, especially so I can get right in here on the inner part. And when I do spotlight eyes, I don't worry about making sure the color is built up exactly where I want it, because a lot of times, because we're gonna put that shimmer in the center here, I go back and forth, I build up the matte, I come back in with the shimmer, blend it a little bit, come back in, build it up. Spotlight eyes can kind of take me a little bit of time as I'm trying to make sure that everything is built up to what I want it to be. But I think that they usually come out pretty. I don't know why I don't do them more often. Like I said, I just have this comfort zone with my technique. If you watch my Instagram videos, like sometimes I feel like they're super boring because I feel like I do the same thing a lot, but I try to mix up like palettes and colors and stuff, but I feel like my technique is pretty simple, but I always get a lot of compliments on them and I'm like, okay, thanks. Like I'll keep doing them if you like them. So because of this video is all about, you know, challenging myself, another thing that I want to do is kind of do, I don't know if I would consider this a cut crease. I don't know. I'm going to use concealer and I'm going to put it in the center part of my eye. I've been kind of trying to do this a little bit lately because I feel like it helps shimmers pop a little bit more. So I feel like when I have been doing this as well, I get lots of compliments on my eye makeup looks. I had used concealer for my shimmer when I did my eye look in my new palette releases and reviews, and I got so many compliments and so many people said, did you do something different with your eye makeup? And I was like, I used concealer. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I've been watching a lot of videos and tutorials, like trying to help me figure out what exactly it is I'm doing. So I'm taking the ColourPop No Filter concealer because this is a terrible shade match for me. It's like, it's lighter than white on me. So I really only have been using it for this reason. And I'm taking just a flat brush. This is a Morphe G20. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and put this on the center part of my eye, and I keep seeing in videos people saying to look up, and then see, I feel like that's too far though. That happened to me the other day too, so then I got kind of scared of doing this, but it's okay. It's okay. We're just gonna try to make it work. I'm gonna switch to an even smaller brush and just kind of like round everything out with no additional product. I tried to make sure the concealer looks like somewhat blended into those other shades before I put the shimmer on, but you know, it's not always perfect. I've only done this a handful of times, and I've only done something like this on camera once, so it's a little bit challenging for me, but I think that's good for now. Good for now. So then I'm going to take the lit shade. I have the Sigma E58, and I did spray it with a setting spray to make my brush damp. That's what I like to do for all of my shimmers. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get some of this like copper shimmer on here. I'm gonna go ahead and add it. Ooh, that's really pretty. I'm gonna add it to the center of the eye. Ooh, not good, not good. That's okay, we'll clean it up. No perfection here. Funny is I almost said, when I said, ooh, it was pretty, the next thought in my mind was, I've never used this shade before. I was like, obviously you haven't, Samantha. I'm taking my time and working on building this up, and like I said, so you can kind of already see that the matte brown is kind of like fading with the shimmer, so that's when I'll go in and take my time and build that back up too. While my camera was cooling down, I went ahead and finished off this eye, but I did want to show how I kind of finish off this one. I don't know, maybe you can see like this is a little bit more blended, and I brought back in the mattes, so then it's just like the halo of shimmer in between. So I want to show that, even though, I mean, I'm not a makeup artist, I'm not trying to like teach anybody, I'm just showing what I do. So I wanted to make sure that I came back and showed that. So I'm just going to grab a little bit more of the goat shade, and then this first brush that we used, and I just kind of lightly run it over the outer part of my eye here and just make sure it looks nice and blended in the crease to the best of my blending abilities. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the inner part of the eye here. I'm just going to bring a little bit more of that color back, and then just again make sure it looks somewhat blended. If you need to, this eye I don't think is quite, like the shimmer didn't quite lose its luster, but I'm just going to come back in with a little bit more lit and put that right in the center. And then again, just make sure everything looks blended over here. Okay, so that's what the eyes look like. I really like how that came out. I liked both of those colors. I wasn't sure, I mean, like I said, I wasn't sure how they were gonna look together. I mean, this isn't anything like color-wise out of my comfort zone, but those two aren't, when I go to do a halo eye, those aren't the two colors that I gravitate for a halo eye. I typically do something really like light on the center part of the lid and not as deep on the outer part. So I was just like, oh, I'm not really sure how this is gonna go. But I do want to, I'm gonna add lashes, but I'll go ahead and do the lower lash line too, because I wanna play with some of these other colors that I haven't used yet too. But I'm just gonna go ahead and put some liner in my waterline. This is an Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Pencil in Roach. It's kind of like a metallic brown, kind of like what we have going on here. So I'm trying to decide for the lower lash line, like I'm looking at the colors that I haven't used and I can't quite decide what I think would be best. I think I'm gonna come in with Throwback on a flat definer brush and just kind of push that close to the lower lash line and see if I think this is a good match, because I'm really not 100%. I feel like I don't hate it, but I don't love it necessarily. So I think I'm also going to take, maybe let's try Lady Boss, the second one here. I feel like I like that more. It's not like a huge difference, but it's just a little bit more gold maybe. That, I think that I like that. So for the inner corner, I'm gonna come in with this FOMO shade. It looks really cool. I don't know why I haven't used that shade, but I'm just gonna pick up that small, this is the E21 from Sigma, and I'm just gonna put a little bit right onto the inner part of the eye. I feel like that goes with the eye look pretty well. The lower lash line I'm not 100% sure on, but I'd use all the other mattes in here besides the black, and I thought black would be too much for this. So I just had to go with shimmers, and with all of those golds that I hadn't used, I wanted to give it a try. I really like this FOMO shade because it looks like it has like a little bit of a peachy undertone to it, and for some reason I'm like really into peach right now, I've been noticing. So that might be really pretty to put all over my lid too. Ooh, see, and I wouldn't even have known. Wouldn't even have known. So this is going to be it for the eye look before I put on lashes. I don't have lashes picked out. Honestly, it probably takes me longer to pick out the lashes that I'm gonna wear than it even does to apply them, because I just never know. I'm gonna go ahead and put some lashes on off camera, and then I'll come back to finish off the look with some lipstick. Okay, I added some Morphe Seductress lashes. Ooh. And so just to finish off this look, I'm gonna do my lip color on camera here. This is from Bite Beauty in Honeycomb. I just have a little mini guy here. I wanted to do a nude, and my lips are really dry, so I wanted to stay away from a liquid lipstick. And I feel like it's been a really long time since I pulled out any of my Bite lipsticks. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add this. Alrighty, so this is what Honeycomb from Bite looks like with this look, but after that, that's gonna do it for this little personal makeup challenge using shades in a palette that I have never tried before. Okay, so that is gonna be everything for today's video, this little personal makeup challenge that I wanted to give myself, trying out shades from an eyeshadow palette in my collection that I have never used before. I know that the shades are still kind of like my personal comfort zone, but that's also why I wanted to add in a technique that I'm not necessarily comfortable with, just because this was all about like challenging myself and pushing myself out of my comfort zone. So that wasn't the first time I tried that technique, but I think it's still only like my fourth time maybe third or fourth time. So it was fun to challenge myself. You know, maybe this will inspire some of you guys to challenge yourself in a certain way when it comes to makeup. You know, maybe you're the complete opposite of me. Maybe it'll challenge yourself to do something a little bit more Samantha style. You know what I'm saying? But I just thought it would be fun to take on it. Like I said, you know, makeup is fun and it should be personal preference, and you should be able to feel comfortable with the makeup that you have on. But at the same time, with, you know, everything in life, it's nice to step outside the box every once in a while and do something that puts you a little bit out of your comfort zone. So that's kind of the underlying theme of this video. But I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you have any other challenges you'd like to see me do, or if you have any other video ideas or suggestions for me, please do leave them in the comments down below. But other than that, if you guys did enjoy this video or you found it entertaining in some way, I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up. I hope that you'll also consider subscribing before you go, and I'll catch you guys in my next video.